Yo, welcome to another episode of D&D, and that is Dial and Discover. And yes, we are back. I'm sitting with my brother again, Siam Mhlungu.
What's good, brother?
How you doing, my brother?
Bless, my
good,
dope.
Good. And I'm Calvin Mercy, of course. And I'm super excited, my brother.
Yeah.
We're back. We're rocking.
Wow.
Another episode, another season.
Another season.
Yeah.
Do you think we look different? You know, much
I
brighter
mean,
inside. You know what I'm trying to say?
Coming
with the yellow vibes. You know what I
We had
mean?
to come with the difference. You get what I'm saying? We had to come with a different energy. And I think coming off, one or two episodes speaking about being progressive and how you approach starting and then how you continue and you grow from. You don't have to do everything at once, but you have to be progressive and grow. I think we just a reflection of that right now.
Yeah.
So now, big shout out essentially to AMP Studios. Big shout out to MTN. The energy exchange, we're taking it to another level.
Yeah. Really, really big shout out to MTN. I think the work that the guys have been doing here at AMP Studios is also so great, you know.
It's really solid.
We always speak so profoundly of how
Really solid.
brands put their money next to value, you know what I mean? So when an affiliation comes, whether it's money or resource or whatever, it's because there's value. So it's dope to see how, like we're trying to do, AMP Studios has built up their value, they put out some great products, and then brands understand next to them and kind of help them amplify and build onto the vision. So definitely shout out to them.
I think what AMP is doing is incredible.
Yeah.
Because we're really in a content creator pocket.
Right.
And like America's like so ahead where that conversation is concerned. But for Africa, it's still a whole big chat.
Yeah.
And we're right at the forefront of that whole culture and that whole trend that's happening right now. But I mean, I use the term trend very lightly because it's not even a trend. It's really what is happening right now.
Oh, it's real life
Content
now.
is king.
Yeah.
So big shout out to AMP Studio, big shout out to MTN, our partners in what we're doing. And I mean, another season, it's been incredible. Season 1 was really incredible, was really powerful, I think. But before we go far, let's check out a recap. Let's run it back, basically.
Run it back, Turbo. Dang.
Hello, hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Can you just give us your question real quick and let's see how best we can answer that.
How mentally strong should you be to, believe in whatever that you're doing, even though you think it might take years for it to, materialize and become the thing that you want it to be?
You need to understand that for as long as your mind is weak, your flesh is going to follow suit. So when you're sitting in bed saying, I don't want to get up, guess what your body's going to do? Okay, guys, today
we're not getting up.
Yes, you know what I mean? So when you can tell your mentality that, yo, guys, today is a tough day, but we are going to get up and we're going to do the most, then your atom, your nucleus changes and your body kind of, okay, we're going to do this.
We're navigating.
How do myself as an upcoming artist who is independent, not managed and not signed, get marketing and get my music out there? Because it's so hard when you don't have a team.
Line of focus is very important to understand that you literally go from product, packaging, second, and then from there you go to distribution. So all artists are still stuck on the fact that they've got to get signed, etc. And look, not saying that we're throwing out the signing conversation completely, but you see, that's also on information. You have to know and understand how that works. But for an independent artist, which indie right now is a real thing, I'm not saying getting financed is not.
You're live on Dial and Discover. You're out here with Calvin and Sia. What is your question, my brother?
How do I handle clients that come through and negotiate your price from get-go?
Do you guys think it's important to know connections within the game in order for me to blow up? Also, just do my work until the time is right?
Shoot us your question, my brother, off the top.
Okay, off the top. So I'm self-employed. So I'm an entrepreneur, like everyone else, I think now.
But now with the people that we're working with, they don't have that.
What don't they have?
So now we don't have access to TV and radio.
This is the first podcast interview I've ever done. I'm in the business for 8 years.
In Zulu, they say, indlela ibuza kulabo abaphambili. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So the ones who've walked the path are the ones you kind of get guidance from. So in those
100%.
interviews of stories, you kind of pick up on those attributes.
On the attribute.
Makes sense.
And that's not just of one or two, because if you're a student of the game, you're watching that interview 5 times.
My life isn't time coded. It's not like go to school, finish school, go to varsity, get a job, wada. It's based on my vision, what I feel like my purpose is,
100%.
which already supersedes my reality.
Like one of the special things or the dope things that we do that's very different and unique is bridging the gap between creative and business.
100%.
Because you can have this creative idea, but when you step into that room with the brand, you still need to understand that if they're putting 100,000 on the table, what's their return?
So I guess everyone needs PR. But do you think we need PR?
I don't think you need it, but I think it would be an added value to what you guys are already doing. I'm really proud of the fact of what you guys are doing in terms of empowering and educating, because there's not a lot of platforms that are spreading love and spreading joy and spreading.
Right.
So now the question is, how do we take this show and monetize it? Which is very interesting that we have in this chat, because when it happens, we're gonna kind of replay this moment right now.
And it's gonna happen.
You know,
Dope. It was definitely a fantastic season indeed. You know, it's so interesting when you come into like content, right? Because the internet is so very tricky. It's like short form versus long form versus attention span versus everything, you know? But that was a quick recap. There's 3 minutes of some pivotal elements.
that was incredible. I mean, when I watched that clip, it just summarizes the impact of the show, which is crazy, I think, for us, because like we in it and we have the conversations or whatever the case is, but it's like just watching it back, you know, in actual like comprehending everything, you kind of get to see like just the impact of what this is, and which is the whole point of why we created the show. So more than anything, I think that watching that makes me happy to know that, okay, it's translating as we had envisioned it, and of the call that we had once upon a time.
100%, right? Which is wild. And you know, that's what's so interesting about time is that a step is merely just a step in the moment, but 1,000 steps together create a moment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Creates
So it's
like
almost like,
usually
it's
that
like an impression, you know what I mean? And definitely, yes, the consistency, doing something over and over again. But I think over and above that, it's the fact that when you have that vision, the steps start feeling a lot less, I wouldn't say daunting, but a lot less like, I'm not there yet, but I'm making progress. That becomes a lot more clear, because you know that just like a puzzle piece, when you come in retrospect, you can kind of look at, what it's looking like.
You're basically saying, as long as you can figure out your next step or your next 2 steps or your next 3 steps, that momentum of movement is more encouraging than not taking the step at all.
100%.
Right? Or feeling that your one step is the end goal.
Yeah.
Which is something I always also talk about, is like, the one step is not the end goal. You're not taking one step to the end. Like, that's not happening. Like, there is no race in the world that works like that.
Facts.
Where I think the shortest race is probably like a 100-meter sprint. But even that, Bolt saying that he takes 4 years to run 9-point-something seconds.
You know what I mean?
It's still not just 100 meters. Right? So, as much as the distance is short like that, and that end goal is only at the end of 100 meters, but that preparation and to get to it like that, you know? So at no point in time do you get any short run that gives you that big leap of success or whatever.
100%.
You know? Sticking to the Bolt example is like, he wasn't in the conversation for so many years that when he came out, he already came out like with a bang, and it's like, you think he just came out one time, but he's been preparing
overnight success
for that.
You know what I mean?
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what everybody like thinks it is.
Yeah. Which I think is because things were done in the dark.
100%.
That's how I feel. You know what I mean?
But then that's why we have documentaries.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the success or whatever, which is like my favorite subject to consume.
Yeah.
Documentaries. Because like he becomes Bolt, you watch the documentary, and now you get to see this whole conversation. Like, and it's very interesting. If you haven't watched it, you should check it out actually. I watched that documentary like 5 times because I just thought it was just so profound. You know, man's is super tall, lanky, has no form, da-da-da-da. He had no makings of the fastest runner in the world. Nope, 0. Which goes back to like a Kobe chat was not talented, but hard work.
Right.
You know, so I think it's that. Season 1 for us was just like taking the steps.
Yeah.
You know, step by step,
Consistency.
showing up every time,
Yeah.
trying to make sure. But now I think we're in stride, so increasing that impact. The biggest thing just becomes the impact that we've had of season 1.
And you know, I think everything's about impact, you know. I think it's also very critical for you to understand, and obviously we have these conversations so that also our consumers can kind of understand our vision and plan, but it's about creating value it's not about selling content.
100%.
You know what I mean? And every business has its formula. We've spoken about this in the show many times before. You know, what's your play, what's your brand, who you're appealing to, and that kind of determines how you shape your story.
Sorry, and I just want to add with what you said, like it's
Yeah.
not about selling content.
Yeah.
I just need the emphasis on that because there's so much content. Like this in itself, or me picking up my phone and doing whatever is content, but
Right.
what's the value?
100%.
That becomes the question
100%.
essentially. And if there's value in the content, then that can equate to whatever.
Yes. So I guess since you went down that rabbit hole, I'm gonna run it back. Please remind me. But I'll run back what I wanted to say. Let me just go down that rabbit hole. There was a stage 3, 4, 5 years ago where doing content was a niche. You had the luxury of choosing whether you want to do it and the luxury of being able to do it.
Talk about it.
Now it's a necessity. You know what I mean? It is no longer, it's almost like the e-toll system, you know? It was this revolutionary thing in the road. So e-toll, essentially, for anybody who doesn't know, was this tracking system of how people are basically paying their road taxes through a meterage system in their car, and it deducts money every single time or runs up the bill based on almost like a pay-as-you-use for the road, right? What content has now become is essentially that pay-as-you-use was a luxury when it came in for the World Cup, but then it kind of stayed and became an everyday norm, and there was a lot of revenue kind of built up from that. Content kind of came in the same way, where it's like, oh, you can have it, big moments, whatever, but now you kind of have no choice. Now you have to pay it, you know? You have to pay to the game when it comes to content. So if your business is not creating content, or if your memories aren't captured in content, or if you're not celebrating using content or pitching with content or whatever, it's the new communication style.
100%.
Hence, we've moved from television to cell phone devices, but also to like billboards and still TV and whatever, because we're telling different stories in different forms, but it all runs through content, right? So running it back to this, so now that we're all essentially the same, because no one's special for doing content anymore, there's now a second layer of criteria when it comes to what's your differential, why are we watching you, right? So people who watch a podcast about entertainment or current affairs because they're into that and they want to consume that. But bearing in mind that the world is the world and content is the world, it means that every division of everybody will consume content. So you're going to hit the education institutions, you're going to hit the brands and corporates who do exchange programs, you're going to hit this CSI projects, people trying to give back, because you're creating this commodity of value which comes through knowledge, which we are seeking, not giving. You know what I mean? So we're facilitating that conversation. So I believe when it kind of comes back to like, you know, the vision and the plan and the steps, it's dope to see how the impact of season 1, the comments are around that. Not like, yo, you guys had 10,000 views, you're doing too much. It's more like, my nigga, what you said about that thing, what is it? You know what I mean?
Like,
that's real life.
Yo, shout out for that, bro. That in itself, the chat that you just dropped right now is so solid. Just on the defining, like the definition of content now, and where it sits, and for everybody to understand, it doesn't matter where you sit in the ecosystem. Content is king. You know, as much as you know in business, when you're talking any business conversation, cash is king.
Cash is king,
right? But
are
now,
you going?
You know what I'm saying? Cash is king, but now at the same time, parallel to that, content is king. And I think, you know, running back to the impact conversation, there's been so many times where we've been on the road in different settings, different events, etc. And I can't even tell you how many people come up to me on some, yo, that show, like you guys are giving off information that so many people need. And it's like people didn't even know where to get it because it's so spread out, but it's not so direct.
Right.
You kind of have to put the pieces together. But still, like even when you put the pieces together, like are you figuring out what's happening here? Or
are you peeping it now?
Are you seeing? Or is it still like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
facts.
And for me, that's where the satisfaction of what we're doing really, really comes from. Like I've had industry individuals, and that was just a whole thing. Like because our impact is not just like with people starting up or whatever. It's like across the board.
Right.
And having some of this guys that have been in the industry for a long time on some, yo, I even watched the show. Just to clean the game, just to make sure I'm clean on the game.
I've learned 1, 2, 3.
And I've learned 1, 2, 3. And I feel for me that's impact, that with what individuals are doing, if it's impactful and influential and adds value, it's really worth consuming and worth bringing out.
Right.
You know, so I'm really proud of what we've done, and I think, you know, from here on, people can expect a lot more of that. You know, we could talk about that a bit. What people can expect is just like a lot more value, because we try ensure that every episode is, if there's no value, then I mean, why are we sitting here? But every episode has value, and then I think the next step is to bring some of the friends of the brand, the friends, you know, to come in and sit with us, to be able to get some of the more of that knowledge across as well. That's
Absolutely.
I think all the individuals that we called have all expressed that they really want to come to the show.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, also obviously coming to the growth element that we always speak of, we feel like it's the right time to bring them into the room. You know,
Timing is everything. Also,
yes, timing is everything, because we also want to broaden the scope of kind of like the conversations we're having. You know,
100%.
I would love to start delving deeper into certain topics. You know, I mean, you know, it's so crazy how the scale goes from how to write an invoice, and that not really being a thing. Forget that. Why do I have to write an invoice? Just pay my money, brother. You know what I'm trying to say? Which speaks to a bigger problem is how you hang your books. What books? I finished school long ago. Not those books. These ones, boys, in for your company, your business. You know what I mean? And then when SaaS knocks down the line in 20 years, when you've raked it up, you realize that your problem isn't in front of you, it's actually behind you. You know, and it's because we're missing some of those gaps. So we might not be vested in all those different type of topics. So it's been critical to bring people into a room who can speak.
For sure.
That we can learn from.
I think
too.
so many, quite a few people have expressed that they want to be in the room with us, just also because they think what we're doing is incredible. So I feel like that's going to be a lot of value, because then we can engage like this with, you know, a third person, really dive more into different topics. Not losing away with the core aspect, because we do still want you guys to really send us your questions and engage with us directly. And that's something that we want to make sure that happens as well, because I think there's a difference as well from what we're talking about versus a question that you might have in the equation. So you might be thinking about it in a different perspective. You might be in a situation that requires a different question. You posing that question makes all the difference, and it helps us just direct the information. And that's why it's Dial and Discover, you know? That's
and
the
the guests are picked from that, you know? The guests are picked from the questions that you guys put out, because then we see what the problem is and the common denominator. And we're like, man, we have like 5 finance questions. We should just probably bring in a finance lady and make all these calls with her in the room.
100%.
You know?
So I'm super excited about season 2. I really am. And I definitely think that, again, more impact, probably more numbers, more views, etc. But just the more feedback we get from people, just letting us know that what we're doing is in the right direction. That's what it is. And from that, just still getting that feedback. So please continue to give us the feedback. It allows us to know how to scale it even more, to grow it even more, you know? So
dope.
I'm excited. Season 2, D&D, Dial and Discover.
We outside, man.
We outside.
Good to have you back, my brother.
Feels good to be back.
Wait. We gotta talk about this. Like, I mean, there's a lot of yellow. Clearly, there's some intention.
There's a lot going on.
You know what I mean? Okay. So obviously, we kept the nuance of the show to the content, you know. But we can always switch up the visuals here and there, you know.
100%.
Because we're some meticulous guys. You
understand?
So yellow and white room, yellow drink. What is this poison? I walked in here today and just found this on the table. What's the chat?
This is called the Passion Mercy. You understand?
Okay.
If you want to know what's going on over here, you're gonna have to meet me somewhere outside, have a conversation with me. We're gonna put you on. It's the Passion Mercy. We come with the energy, you know. I think hence why we also had to change the space so that it can also communicate the energy that we want to put out. It's all good energy. It's positive. We out here to build.
Going to the summer. Right?
Yeah, we're going to summer. You know, yellow vibes. MTN vibes. You know the deal.
All you gotta say now is yellow summer. Just say it, man. Just say it.
I should have said that actually.
I feel you.
No,
all love, brother.
No. I'm excited. So yeah, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Season 2 of D&D Dial and Discover. Please stay tuned. Do like, subscribe, comment, engage with us. Send us your questions. and hopefully we could dial you into one of the episodes so that we can help you discover. One time.
Danko, it's Bome.